Today I'd like your opinion on a rather interesting topic, that of how YouTube videos of the Oculus Rift ought to be laid out or presented. I gave it some thought and came up with 4 options that I thought would be rather easy for me to implement. That of just the raw footage by itself, the raw footage with the eyes swapped over, the raw footage or swapped footage with a small webcam somewhere, not too intrusively, and only one eye of the raw footage with the rest of the screen taken up by a webcam or something else perhaps. A webcam seems like the most likely option. So, these 4 options, which do you think is best? You can go to the straw poll in the description right now, or you can hang on until I've gone through some pros and cons of each one. So to begin with, the raw footage. The Oculus Rift uses stereoscopic 3D to make you feel like you're really there. And if you own some sort of head-mounted virtual reality, basically a 3D device of any kind that can support stereoscopic footage, you'll be able to watch this and feel like you're there as well. But for everyone else who isn't there and doesn't have the expensive hardware required, they won't be able to appreciate it. And as a result, the raw footage pretty much leaves half the screen redundant, as when you're outside a device, it seems like the same image twice. So there you go, people with VR devices will benefit, but the vast majority of people who don't have VR devices will end up seeing the same thing twice. Now there are some people who will say, but you can go cross-eyed. You can go cross-eyed and you can converge the two and make yourself stereoscopic 3D without any glasses or head-mounted displays. No, you can't. Not with the raw footage, but you can with swapped footage. The raw footage would give you an inverse 3D effect, which isn't particularly pleasant but sometimes does appear 3D. The swapped footage, if you do it now by crossing your eyes and converging the 2 views into one middle view, gives you a stereoscopic 3D view, which is quite fun to watch, and anyone can do it. Or can they? Unfortunately, some people can't quite get the hang of this, and for those of us who can, doing it for long periods of time, it probably isn't a good idea, because it will put strain on your eyes, and it could be very uncomfortable, especially if you do it for a long time. Watching the entire Let's Play, a 30-minute Let's Play with this, not a great idea. So again, we might as well have half of the screen redundant. But what about a different option entirely? Or, well, before we get onto that, what about an option that is rather similar, but just includes a webcam? So we could either have the raw footage, or we could have swapped footage, doesn't have to be raw, could have the no glasses 3D swapped version, with a webcam placed somewhere. This seems to be what a lot of YouTubers are doing right now, and it is okay, because if you're wearing a VR device and you have the raw footage behind that webcam on either side, you can just watch it and you can kind of ignore the webcam that's down there at the bottom because it doesn't take up too much room. It is, however, rather small. And again, a lot of the screen is redundant if you're choosing not to do the no glasses 3D cross-eyed trick, or if you don't have an expensive piece of hardware to run the footage on. At least you get to see the webcam though, so that's the benefit. And finally, my personal favourite choice, a webcam taking up the other half of the screen that is pretty much redundant for the majority of viewers. It's my assumption that the majority of people don't want to do the cross-eyed trick, but I think it's pretty obvious to say that the majority of people don't have Oculus Rifts, or any sort of 3D head-mounted display. So this may be the one that appeals to the most people, and I think it appeals to me as a content creator, because it just seems more comfortable. Only one eye, with a large webcam view on the other side, and those are the 4 options that I thought were the most practical, both to watch and for a YouTuber to make. And in my case, I'm most likely going to end up doing this one, but I want to make sure I'm not making any assumptions. So, if you disagree with me and think that one of the other options would be better, or if you agree with me and think that this one is good, or if you have any sort of opinion on the matter whatsoever, then you can go to the straw poll link provided on the screen right now. strawpoll.me/2377323 and you'll be able to vote between one eye and a large webcam, raw footage allowing for the VR viewing, the swapped eyes allowing for no glasses 3D, or the raw or swapped footage and a small webcam view. Please do go and do that, as it will help me out considerably and will have an impact on what I decide to do in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. There is one other format not included in this list that I have neglected to mention, and that's of the idea of cropping and enlarging one of the eyes. Contrary to what I said earlier about most YouTubers using a small webcam and two eyes, some actual research went to show that a lot of YouTubers are using a small webcam and only one of the eyes enlarged. I didn't include it because I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of just increasing the size to fill up more of the player view, with the only purpose of what exactly? If you have a small screen, then maybe it'll help, but I think most people are watching these on monitors or tablets, and as a result, you're not seeing anything more, you're just seeing it at a greater scale, and in fact, you're seeing less. So I didn't include it. But if you think it's better, then perhaps if you make enough noise in the comment section below, I may just reconsider.